Our little motto is help more, give back. We give back through delivering a great experience for our clients, but also giving back to our community and having fun along the way, engaging with our people and being connected with them. It's not just a transaction, and living large. When we live a really big, awesome life, then others can see that it's possible for them as well.
Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Welcome, everyone, to You Got It, another amazing episode of Referrals Podcast. Today, we promised that we would bring this very special guest back, and we deliver on almost all of our promises. We do what we say we're going to do. We make it happen. That is correct. But before I introduce our esteemed guest today, I have to do a shout out, and I want to call you to action. The first shout out I want to give is an Amazon review that we just got today, and it is Trace Bond, livre, Icarus sus la forme de une histoire, un rappel et un apprentissage en technique de communication. Je le recommande pour tout commercial. And that today is our shout out, people. All right. That was all in French. I've never taken a lick of French. If you couldn't figure that out, I've never spoken French before, other than parlez-vous français, or whatever it means to not speak Spanish or French. All right. So what that says is very good book, written in the form of a story, a reminder and training in communication techniques. I recommend it for any salesperson. And just if you know the French, I know that that's actually very high praise, what they said there. I know it sounds very muted, but that's how it works. So thank you to whoever wrote that review. You didn't put your name, but we really appreciate you. And it was funny, so we had to make it happen. I mean, come on. Somebody made 7L happen and this podcast happen, and they were nice enough to write a review. So speaking of reviews, you need to check out rms2024.com. Let me know. Go to rms2024.com and check out Referral Mastery Summit. It is in Atlanta, Georgia, September 27th through the 29th. It is the ultimate referral sphere event of the year. We not only teach you, help you, give you the plans. We literally give you 2 52-week plans for your database, but we also model it. So we are going to model the I Love You Latte. We're going to model a Gotham Ball event. Yeah, that's right. On Friday night, we are doing the Gotham Ball. And you can dress up as any superhero you want, any supervillain, or you could not dress up and just go as a reporter or something like that. It's going to be a lot of fun. It is September 27th through the 29th in Atlanta, Georgia at the beautiful Omni Centennial Park. We've been trying to get that hotel for 5 years. Finally got it. Use code RMS Podcast to get 50% off the general admission ticket today. That is our early bird discount. We have 30 some tickets of those available. I would love for you to take those last 30 so that I can quit doing this shout out on the podcast and move on to other shout outs. So speaking of shout outs and being on this podcast, let's freaking go. I just had the most awesome 5 to 7 minute pre-show conversation with this young lady, and I'm very excited to talk with her again. With over 2 decades in the real estate business in Tulsa, Oklahoma area, Jennie has developed clarity and focus by discovering her purpose. Jennie's mission is to empower others to tap into their potential and discover their possibilities. Jennie lives her mission through teaching, modeling, and giving permission to live a dream life now. Jennie loves sharing her systems, tools, and tips, as well as failures and lessons with her agent and local community. You may find her posts and motivation on her website, in her Facebook group, Your Journey with Jennie, and through her awesome training classes. Jennie and our team consistently help 100 families per year and generate just as many referrals for their partners and local businesses as they do their own team. This small and mighty team enjoys living their motto. Listen to this: help more, give back, live large, and have fun. Welcome back to the Referrals Podcast, Jennie Wolek.
Woohoo!
She's back.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, we love having you. because I want to just jump into like the opportunity of real estate in general. And, we were talking a little bit in the pre-show of, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in Kansas City, they don't look at us like maybe the typical agent, right? They look at us more, and what is the typical agent? Sometimes they're kind of pushy salesperson. I mean, what is the typical or traditional real estate agent? And like, that's actually a pretty good question to put on Facebook or something like that, to like, what do people think it is? And I think a lot of times they think of the person they know the best in the business, and that's what they think of the person in the business, and or think of the salesperson in the business. So in Kansas City, I think they consider me like a financial planner or an attorney or something like that. And I would guess in Tulsa, Oklahoma, they see you as a successful business owner as much or more than maybe the traditional or typical real estate agent. Would you agree with that, Jennie?
Well, that would absolutely be the goal. That's right. And that's part of our little motto is help more, give back. And we give back through, delivering a great experience for our clients, but also giving back to our community and having fun along the way, engaging with our people and being connected with them. It's not just a transaction, and living large. When we live a really big, awesome life, then others can see that it's possible for them as well.
When did you decide to live the big life? Like you're living it. And yeah, I use the analogy of a lighthouse a lot for myself, right? And I mean, when I write handwritten notes, and a lighthouse doesn't run up and down the beach going, use me, oh my God, use me. It stands there strong and tall, shines its light, guides those who need it, and those who don't need it, they don't worry about it, right? And I see you as a lighthouse in Tulsa. Not that Tulsa needs lighthouses, not a lot of oceanfront land in Tulsa, but that's kind of how I see. When did that decision come to you?
Well, I mean, I think that decision came to me by me deciding that I wanted more out of this business and this life. And that truly came, Michael, through taking training classes. The one that really made a big impact for me is a 7-week class that we have at our company called Bold. And that was in 2010. And I knew that I wanted more in my business. My daughter was finally at an age 3.5, 4 years old, where I was getting back into, instead of being a part-time agent, in a full-time mom, I was ready to put myself more into the business and wanted to and had the desire. And so I just didn't have the skills necessarily or the confidence. And so just that one class, and whether it's that class or anything, it's really just opening your mind to the possibilities. That's why that's part of my mission statement now, is I want others to see they have the potential and the possibilities. They just have to make that decision. So really just changing my thinking, knowing that it was possible, having some accountability around it. Inside of this class, you're taught the skills, you are held accountable with a team and commitments, and you get into action. And guess what? When you do, there's positive results. So that was really it for me, Michael, dreaming big and then getting into action.
What were your two biggest ahas from the first time you took Bold? Like it obviously made a difference, right? And I'm a believer in conferences, classes, anything like that where you see the bigger world, right?
Well, the biggest difference I remember specifically was that my thinking before was that calling people, whether I knew them or I didn't know them, that I was bugging them. I was bugging them. They didn't want to hear from me. I was interrupting their day. And instead, I changed my thinking. It became my mantra. I'm really great at helping people. I'm just offering my help. Maybe today they don't need my help, and that's okay too. And so when I got over my own limiting beliefs about bugging people, that really was the key and the kicker for taking my business from 23 units as a solo agent to the next year 51. And so basically doubling my business because I just changed my thinking around connecting with people.
Yeah. There's a great line in 7L where the coach yells at Rick. He yells at Rick a lot in the book. But one of the things that he yells is just like, if you have call reluctance, it's because you're being selfish.
selfish.
right? It's because you're thinking what you're assuming what they are. It's like when you call with the spirit of helpfulness, it's no problem to make the call. And what it is a lot of times won't call us, well, I've got an ulterior motive. Well, don't have an ulterior motive. Just call to help, right? And it's like ulterior motive is selfish, definitely. I'm calling to get business. Don't call to get business. Call to see how you can help. Call and see what the heck they're doing. Call to, just
That's what I share with anyone that's having that hesitancy is, if you have fallen out of flow with someone and you haven't talked to them in a really long time, have that first call just be a, hey, how are you phone call? Hey, let's reconnect. Hey, I was thinking about you. And just for a shout out back onto you is this first quarter of this year, our team book club was 7L because we needed that reminder that it's about our relationships first.
Yeah. And how many of those teammates are left after they had to read that? I mean, you use that as a filter, right? It's like, if they can get through this mush, then they are truly troopers. It's just a resilience thing, right? It's not let's hope they get a lot out of the book and that kind of thing. So,
well, because we want to have that kind of business. That's the business that I desire. And the other thing I learned from that class and over time is that I needed to get really clear on me, on my style. And because I was sometimes encouraged to do lead generation methods that weren't comfortable for me. And then what would I do? I would shut down and not do anything. And so when I gave myself permission, okay, how about I know who I am, what's in my style, and I just do more of that, I have more joy, and then I had more success.
Yeah.
So people sometimes think they have to do all the methods that exist. No, you don't.
well, and you hit it on the head is they're told that they've got to do those. And if they don't, they're weak or they're broken or they're listening to their drunk monkey or they're whatever. Right. And the truth of the matter is no, they're just okay. And maybe they need to find a different way. And that's what I did. Right. I did the cold calling and door knocking and stuff I just absolutely hated the whole thought of it because I didn't like either one of them either. And that, luckily I did a housewarming party for a client. It went phenomenal. And I went to a networking event and luckily that was good. So networking and events became my big thing. And, to this day, they're my big thing. So I think you got to find your thing, whatever it is, So I love it. And you've really grown and we're talking about the opportunity that real estate gives you, but also entrepreneurialism as well. And, you're now in a position that's a little different with your team, right? And we're kind of in a similar position where we're not necessarily working directly with buyers and sellers. We're overseeing people who are working with buyers and sellers. Talk about that transformation as you went into that.
Yeah, I mean, we've got, our company at least, and I'm sure many have kind of models of how you do this business. And back in my earlier days, I was doing a traditional model that had a listing agent, a lead listing specialist, and a lead buyer specialist. And so as I started growing my team, the agents that were hopping in and helping me, they were in this role and I was in this role. Well, over time, guess what? Jennie is also loves to teach and train, and I'm a leader, and now I'm a business owner, and I'm a mom, and now I'm wearing all these different hats. And guess what? I'm really sucking at being a lead listing agent.
Yeah, right.
Because that requires lots of effort, focus, attention, and enthusiasm for wanting to meet with people on their schedule at times. We can do our best to fit into our calendar. And I just was not finding joy in it. So honestly, I just went to my team at the time. I had some great agents. They were younger, enthusiastic. And I said, hey, so I'm not nailing it in the role of listing agent. And I need to be a better leader for you guys. I need to be a better business owner for our business. Would you be cool if I started training you on how to take listings? And I kind of got out of the way. And I'll tell you what, Michael, they were like, get out. Like, we thought you'd never ask. And it was that year that we had the biggest growth in our years, and the trajectory went up even higher than the consistency that had been the year before, because it was me. Hi, I'm the problem. It was me. I was holding us back because I was being pulled in so many different directions. So I didn't have a goal of getting out of the business. And maybe some think that's the ultimate goal. And maybe, no, I don't think it is. I still want to
Well, you're not out of the business. You're leading a business in the real estate. And it's like, I'm not out of the business, right? It's like, I'm directly related to the business on a daily basis. It's what opportunity you're looking for. Where's your joy? Like, your joy is now in leading and learning and teaching, as it probably always was, quite honestly. You bring up a funny story, that I had with the listings, but and see if you can relate to this a little bit, is I just thought I was the only one who could do listings, right? So I did solo for 2 or 3 years, did really, really well. And now you got to realize, when you work a 98% referral business, you think you're better than you are. That's the truth, because my listing appointment became, I would walk in, there would be 2 keys and a seller's disclosure already filled out on top of the island. And like, I already knew I had the listing, right?
That's good.
So I would walk around and just compliment him on the pictures and ask how Hawaii was. And like, you guys ready? It's like, yeah. Okay. And we signed, right? I mean, it's like, all right, well, I remember a guy named Pat Hyben, who is he wrote a book called 6 Steps to 7 Figures. He's a $1 billion agent. He was a mentor of mine at one time. And I was on the cadre. I was actually teaching with him. And I was sitting there talking about me doing the listings. And I'm a list, I do the listings, and he literally, in front of like 500 people, walked over to me, got in my face, and he goes, "Let go. Let go, Michael J. Maher, let go." And you got to realize, I'm also teaching with him. So I'm like, this is extremely inappropriate, right? And it's like, you're supposed to be treating me like I'm, not a student. But he got in my face in front of it. So I'm beat red. I'm embarrassed. And but I have to tell you that it sank in, is that I needed to let go. I needed to let go of that position. And I needed somebody else to take the reins and soar. And guess what? When we did that, we soared. And I now have this whole slogan of the who is not you, right? The who is not you. And the who is not you. Who needs to do this? Like anything. It's like it's like, I need to make the graphics of my buyer's consultation look better. No, the who is not you. Get somebody who can make the graphics of your buyer consultation. And I have learned to just delegate everything, and just the who is not you. Let's give it away. Let's give it away. And then do the things you love. So was it that type of situation for you? Did you have to let go, or were you just like, oh, I'm letting go. Let's go?
I was pretty good at letting go. I don't know. I know that some find lots of pride and control inside of it. And I'm sure that there was early on. And I found really, though, Michael's, people ask me this question all the time who are working to leverage their business to other agents on their team. And they go, but what about my favorite past clients that only want to work with me? No, they want the service that you deliver, the result that you provide. And when you just pass them with elegance and grace to your amazing agents on your team, they're going to be just fine. And so I had to really work in my own little systems. My secret was that I just stopped answering the phone. Right? Like it'd go to my voicemail. I'd hear, and I just had a text just yesterday from a past client. Hey, Jennie, it's time for us to look about making a move, time to sell and buy again. And these people haven't responded to any of my touches in years. And I will gladly just pass them to the capable agents on our team. But I had to just stop answering the phone because the message would go to the voicemail. And then guess what? I send back a text. Hey, Michael, it's so good to hear from you. We are so happy to help you sell your home. I'm going to have Brittany reach out to you and get in touch with you soon. We are so honored that you thought of us to help you. And it just became us.
Yep. Yeah, we and us. Yep. Well, that's awesome. And it's so true is, we have these impactful moments, and it seems like people have to yell at me for my impactful moments. And you brought, I remember I did 100 or 205 transactions in my 4th year. And I was at the board of, I remember I had this board of ambassadors, and I did them quarterly. And they were just people I really looked up to, super smart people in the community. And I had like 5 or 6 questions. And when I got into real estate, I drew a line, and I was like, all right, like, teaching is done. I was teaching and coaching 3 sports at the time. Teaching and coaching is done, and I'm going to become a realtor. But I'm not going to be a realtor. I literally wrote it. I am going to be the greatest realtor in the history of the world. That was my goal, getting into real estate. So I have no idea what that meant. But guess what? I was trying to be it. And, 37 transactions, 87 transactions, 187, 205. So crushing it. And, you look at the top 25 in the city, I'm up there, number 1, 2, or 3, and it said 3 years in the business. And it had 1 person on the team. And like number, 3 or 4 was 47 members of the team and, 27 years of experience. And so like this stuff was going good. But I had gained about 15 pounds. I was working myself to death and so on and so forth. And I remember that December board of ambassadors, and I thought I was going to get all these accolades, Jenny. I thought they were just, oh my God, 205, you're in the top in the city, you're number 1, you're the greatest, and no, they all looked directly. And I don't know if they ganged up beforehand and just go like, let's bring Michael down a notch, but they were just all over me that if you continue to go this way, we're not going to refer you. This is not good. This is not healthy. This is not, what you should be doing. This is not good for your relationships. And they basically yelled at me. And and we had the best board of ambassadors I've ever had that December. And it basically, here's what I learned, is they don't want the greatest realtor in the history of the world. People individually want the greatest real estate transaction experience that they could ever have. So it was like it, and that's when I started building the team, is because it was like, oh, it isn't about me. It isn't about working with me. Working with me it's the experience that we deliver, not the person that delivers it. And that was just a huge, and then, boom, we exploded from there. But what an amazing eye opener that was, when it's all about the experience we deliver, and I oversee an experience versus I'm the experience.
Yeah.
Have you had that?
Yeah, I think I absolutely have, because I had, after the bold class, a continual growth year after year from a solo agent to seeing that I absolutely needed help. I was drowning in the business and not being a good mom or good real estate agent. Just, that those moments before a breakdown, you feel them.
Yeah.
You said it was the wait for you. It's the shaking, it's the stress, it's the getting in and catching up on the emails after you put the kiddo down for bed. So it was just really tough. And it was around 2015 that I had my breakdown of, I had started building a team and it was not done correctly. Hey, you have a heartbeat and you're nice enough, come join the team, or, whatever like Band-Aid I could find. And so that just taught me, unfortunately, I failed through people sometimes because I was still learning and growing as a leader. And over time, thank goodness, I've gotten a little bit better at it. And knowing, though, that even though your number 1 job description as a real estate agent is to lead generate, follow up with people, communicate with people, it's also the same exact job for your team, communicating and connecting with your team. And so when there's not a conversation going on, people start creating stories in their head. And so I want this story to always be a positive one. So For me, the growth through leadership has been very important. And that's just learning. I mean, if you see my little bookshelf up here, you'll find lots of leadership books, how I can just become a better person. I definitely learned through my many coaches over the years is that it is putting our mask on first. I take care of myself. I have already, I start my day bright and early each morning with thinking time and reflection and preparing and exercise and a smoothie and, cuddles and love. And so I am making sure my mask is on first so that I can be the best leader for my people. I can be the best human for my community. And so that's where you get the energy and the drive in this business.
Yeah. First, love yourself, right? Fly. If you truly want to fly, first love yourself, first lead yourself. Love that. I'm a big fan of the morning ritual, of course. And so, I want to keep going with, all right. So mentors that you've had before, right? So who are some mentors that you've had and what did you learn from them?
I mean, I think my greatest mentors would absolutely be my teachers, because I have always just been open to receive and open to coaching because I know that I don't know all things. And so that would be any coaches that I've had in my real estate business. Jordan Freed is my current coach. He is an amazing human. And, the thing about a coach, and it doesn't matter who they are, it's just that they care more about you and your goals than maybe you do sometimes. And they're going to help you achieve the goals that you've set out for. I think a lot of people have fear around accountability because they might have to do something they don't want to do. Well, then it should have been your goal if you weren't really attached to it or found that it was important
right.
in your life or your family. And so to me, it would just be the books that I read. I don't know. I probably don't have a specific mentor. You're one because I've used your book as a guide for my business and my team, right? So it's the books that we read and the trainings that we attend and the coaches that we hire in our business.
So I just want you to know, we're going to edit this entire podcast down to just where you said I was one of your mentors. We can have the continued conversation and keep going with the interview all we want, but I just want you to know that that's what you're going to see out in the public. And isn't that today's world, right? Is like, somebody said something and later on you realize that was part of a 30-minute thing that they said, but it was like,
well, and Michael, it's like we are a whole person. So we should have some mentors or in multiple areas of our life, our spiritual world, our physical health, and our mental well-being. And so, maybe it's not even a real person. Maybe it is an author or a book, You may not even know them personally, but they can still be your guide or your prophet through your
love that. I love that because like with weightlifting, I lift heavy. I like to lift heavy and and people are like, well, you're still a little overweight. And it's like, I am a little overweight, but I'm getting there. I'm losing weight through my way, which is powerlifting. And so there's that, but I literally follow a system religiously. Like every time I lift, it's the same system. And I literally my entire life, you just made me realize that it's, not all mentors are people, right? And in this case, I believe in it so much that I've used this same system with my son, and he's gone from benching like 110 about 6 months ago that he did 145 twice yesterday, right? So he's going,
more than me.
Huh?
That's more than me.
Yeah. So he benched you twice, right? So yeah, which we'll have to do at the next event we're together, just for Grinch. But it's just one of those where the system works, and the system can be a model. System can be something that is your mentor. And I really honestly never thought of that before like that. I love that. So you're with Keller Williams and you've done Bold and you teach and you train. And that leads me to the next two things I want to talk about in the conversation. And one is mega camp and family reunion, right? So how long have you been going to the mega camps and the family reunion, the big events? And for those that are maybe newer to real estate or new, is these were essentially the after Star Power, like in the 90s up into the early 2000s, Star Power was the big conference, educational conference. And honestly, Keller Williams took the model and just blew it up, made it even bigger. And we're talking 10 to 12,000 agents at a conference, and not just Keller Williams agents, many other agents as well. So you've been to, how long have you been going to those?
So yeah, I remember my first mega camp. I went to mega camp first. It was in 2009. My daughter was born in 2007. So I was very excited, I'm sure, to get out of town.
Yeah. Let's go to Austin. Yeah.
So that was 2009. And you know what's interesting is that was the year at Mega Camp. You may have been there. And Jay Papasan and Gary Keller were on stage, and they started going through those 12 tactics for a shift. They had just written that book, and it blew my mind and changed my business immediately. Yeah. So that was the start, and I've never missed one or the other ever since.
So 15 years. That's amazing. And family reunion, the same thing, probably 12 or 13. Yeah. So what have you noticed as far as topical trends? You know, and I kind of threw out, like, you know, I've been going as long, 15, 16 years. And you know, one thing back then, I just remember it was essentially a little bit converting internet leads. ISAs were kind of a thing, right? What have you seen? What kind of trends are you seeing with the breakouts and the topics?
Well, I'm so grateful because it's finally trended toward my behavioral style and the way I've been doing business. So now I'm not uncomfortable or stressed out when I'm in those sessions learning about, you know, best forms of lead generate or, you know, online lead conversion and stuff. Right.
Yeah.
So instead, and I don't know if you are know of Phil M. Jones. He wrote the book exactly what to say. And he was at Mega Camp this last year. And he from the stage, and I'll tell you what, it just made me so happy. I think I even had a little tear in the corner of my eye. He said, you have to stop counting conversations and instead start making conversations count.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually ran into him in the Fairmont lobby that evening. And I don't know him. I didn't know him. Now we're like buds. But I grab him on the shoulders with a big smile on my face. And I say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Every agent in that room, every leader in that room needed to hear and to be reminded. Because we've been taught that you tally the number of contacts you make in a day, and that does not move your business forward.
Yeah. It's quality, not quantity.
Yep.
Right. I mean, I give the example of the database, right? It's one of those where that, like, which is better? A database of 20,000, let's say I want to sell books, right? I have books to sell. So if I wanted to sell books, which would be better? A database of 20,000 or a database of 1? Like, which would be better? Most people would say that, well, the database of 20,000 is going to help you sell more books. But what if the 1 in the other database is Oprah?
That's the one.
So don't tell me that it's quantity over quality, right? It's all about quality. Like, and then I go, who's your Oprah? Like, who's your Oprah? Who's your Oprah in your marketplace? The person that's going to make the biggest difference for you and maybe champion you, influence others to use your services. And then I ask the question, like, who are you Oprah to?
Right.
Because if you want to have an Oprah, you need to be an Oprah, right? And, you know, time to give away the puppies. You get a puppy and you get a puppy and I'm just kidding. But it's just one of those where it's so quality over quantity, right? And you know, the reason I asked that question, and I just wanted to see if other people had noticed it as much as I had, is that, you know, this business, this real estate industry is screaming away. They're trying so hard to get away from that ABC always be closing, the ego era, promotion is everything, to this, what I term the generosity generation. I mean, and that's why I hesitated to ask the question a little bit, because I have a huge bias towards sphere event and referrals. And every family reunion, every mega camp over the last 3 or 4 years, my PMs blow up, my DMs blow up, my text messages blow up. And it's just like, they're talking about sphere event referrals. They're talking about event. They're talking about, they said something about your book. And my book's more popular now than it freaking was in 2010.
Look at you.
I mean, well, yeah, good for me. You're like, like good for you. And I was like, yes, that is good for me. But it's one of those, I think it's good for the industry.
It's great for the industry. I told you it's our book club, and I share it with everyone I talk with, because again, besides just the database, the events, the loving on our people, the other part is that we are just in relationship. And that is actually what your book says on the cover. Go from relationship to referrals. Is that right?
You nailed it. Yeah. I had a brain put that into your, but yeah, because
it's valuable.
Yeah. And it's real, and it's what we should be doing, in my opinion. I mean, it's humanity, right? It's humane. It's the human way to do business, the human approach to sales. And people, a lot of times they say it's all about relationships from the stage, and you hear that, and you hear it more now than you ever did before. But first of all, I don't think it's all about relationships. I think it's about referrals. I think, everybody has relationships, but they're not getting referrals from it. So why not? Well, that's what 7L was written for, is to bridge the gap.
Well,
but it is one of those things where I love what you said about what Phil Jones said, is that it's, the way that relationships were taught before is make your calls A through W or Z through X or what. And it was all about counting, all about numbers, all about, ticking off, checking it off. Right. And asking for freaking referrals. Like, how annoying, how awkward, right. And it was still that always be closing attitude and atmosphere. Well, that's almost gone. I just sense that it's just almost gone. And thank goodness, right? Nobody likes to be sold, but we all want to buy. So let's get in the right channel to buy. Well, so you go to conferences, and, I'd love to put in a shout out to rms2024.com. Go to Referral Mastery Summit in September in Atlanta, Georgia. Love to. Everybody should go to conferences. You go to conferences, and now the beautiful thing about you building relationships the right way at these conferences is you've developed a huge agent-to-agent referral community, if you will, right? And you're kind of, for a lot of people, you are the chosen one for Tulsa, Oklahoma real estate. Yes?
That's the goal.
Right? All right.
I think there's some purpose behind it, for sure.
Yeah. But you wouldn't have had the time to do that if you're doing listing specialization and all this. You've stepped into leadership, into your joy. And part of that is doing what you love to do, which is networking. And part of the thing about teaching and learning at the top is you network with the top. You're having conversations at the top. You meet other agents. Well, what percentage of your business were you saying was this year or last year was agent to agent referral?
Oh, year after year after year, it's 30% of our business come from agents.
A third of your business is agent to agent referral. That's an astonishing number, right?
Yeah.
So how did you do that? Right? You had to go to the conference first, right? Yeah. So then what'd you do?
This is a whole nother training topic that I love talking about. And I definitely have in the past. And, honestly, I think you just build a database of agents outside of your market, just like you do your local database. You have your touch program and your marketing and your messaging. Over time might evolve to include doing what I really love, which is to teach and share, connect and care with agents across the country. So I have free trainings every month that just come on in. I do have a goal of grow. I measure that goal. It's a metric. Our goal is to grow our agent database in our CRM to 10,000 people. We're at like 7,500. And that is done with purpose. When I teach free classes, come on in. You're welcome to borrow all my stuff. Oh, and now you're going to get my monthly newsletter where I'm going to share some value and some tips and tricks of what we do here in our business. So it's really about knowing who you are, what you love, and adding value. Please, 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 any platform I have, Michael, to say this, I'm going to say it. Please don't put out-of-town agent friends on your local market drip campaigns.
Yeah. I am part of some of those. Yes. I'm also a part of yours, and I do like your monthly newsletters. So thank you. Keep sending those to me, please. And how do they get on that? Let's just add 2,500 today. We get 20,000 downloads a month on this puppy anyway. So let's, so how do they get there?
Yeah. So go to Your Journey with Jennie, JENNIE, yourjourneywithjennie.com. And that's my website. And so there you can learn more about me. You can get on the mailing list. You can watch free videos and content there. You can join my Facebook group. That's a free Facebook group where I share some inspiration and motivation in there as well. So yeah, come on in. Let's hang out.
Love it. I love it. So, all right. So I mean, do you think it's just the monthly newsletter that just happened a little bit that drives if there were 3 or 4 strategies that you would tell an agent, maybe even a newer agent, to develop their agent to agent referral network, what would those 2 or 3 strategies be?
Well, first off, it didn't start at this level. This is today's Jennie. And in the earlier days of growing the database, it was attending the conferences. Michael, if I had met you, and I probably did, I know I did meet you, and I might have even sent you a card. I hope I did. But my process would be I'd gather all the business cards. Remember the old days we had business cards. I still want a business card if I can, because
Same here.
You remember that.
It's so easy to remember. I print stuff out to read them. I mean, still to this day, it's like I'm a physical person. So I
my paper. I'll get that. But yeah, and so whatever your gathering of new contact information is, then I would bring it back. Some old days, I'd collect all the cards, and I had a day on the Monday or Tuesday, whatever, after the event, and I got out the handwritten notes and I started writing. Hey, Michael, it was so great to meet you. And actually, Michael, I know exactly where I met you. There was an evening event and you gave away a book, and I got your book on CD, by the way. I won a contest because you drew my card. Anyway, so.
Wow. The door prize entry system for the win. How about that? So that's awesome.
Yeah. And so I sent a handwritten note. It was so great meeting you at Mega Camp. Look forward to seeing you at the next event. It was great. If you remember something you talked about, this is the quality over the quantity. I didn't want that rando that's throwing their cards at me off, the elevator. No, you're not a real relationship. So I did my best to gather the info. They go in the CRM. The reminder then became go and follow them on Facebook and connect with them online. And then guess what's on Facebook? Mostly everybody's birthday. And I started calling everybody. You are great at calling people on their birthday. Well, I got out of the habit of it. And earlier days of building my agent database, I was really good at it. And I would just scroll through everybody's birthday. And instead of just the typical message or posting on their wall, I would call them. You can find real estate agents' phone numbers online to do that.
Easy. Even the top of the top. People you would not even expect you could get their phone number. It's pretty easy to get their phone number.
And I'll tell you what, it blows their mind because not even my mom. My mom doesn't even call me on my birthday. So you could really, really deepen relationships with that one touch you fold in. But then it becomes a relationship.
That's right.
That's what it's about. And you could even be strategic about it too. Like, I am in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I know that the most transient locations are like Dallas and Houston from oil and gas, or Northwest Arkansas or Kansas City and Missouri areas. So if you're just building your database, go to those areas, reach out to the team leader. Who can I just want to introduce myself, because who do agents go to when they need a referral?
I have a connection for you. I literally have a referral because of what you just said. I have a connection for you in Kansas City.
All right, I'm ready.
I'll give it to you after the show. I have a connection for you. So a conduit, Tulsa to Kansas City conduit. So how cool is that? Like, I wouldn't have maybe thought of that without you talking about it right here. So that's how referrals happen, people. Having conversations with quality people, quality conversations with quality people. So, all right, final words of wisdom. Somebody wants to be Jennie. I want to be Jennie.
Okay.
So people want to be Jennie. So what words of wisdom would you give to someone who, they're either struggling in the business, they're newer in the business, or they've had a good time, but they've seen a slump and they want to come out of it. And they do. They want to be and live the lifestyle that you have. What one or two things should they do?
Well, for one thing, yeah, I am still working on it, a work in progress, as we all are. And there's, the thing I've learned, though, Michael, is that I do not know when my last day on this earth is. And I desire to live my best life until that day comes. And so how I got clear with what that looks like for me is I built out my ideal job description inside of this business. And when you're clear on what you do love, this business is so dang cool. You could teach, you can lead, you can help people buy and sell homes inside of a team. There's so many opportunities. So find your passion.
I agree with find your passion. I think that's a key ingredient to it. And the ideal job position, keep going on that.
Yeah. So with finding your passion and your purpose and your mission in life, it can sound really big and scary, and you don't have to have it all figured out right now, but just know the direction in which you desire to go and find joy in the journey. And I said this already, but we do have to take care of ourselves. Yeah. We've only got this one vessel to carry us through into our future self. And I just want to have an amazing life. I want to, I choose to do what I love with who I love and from wherever I want to be. And so how can I build the life and the business that allows me to do just that?
Yeah. Love that. I have a billionaire mentor that I just picked up about 4 months ago. First assignment was 5-year plan, right? And I was like, holy crap. Like, I've been nose to the grindstone in this business for a while. And it was like, step back, take a helicopter view. And I was like, I don't even know where to start. He goes, well, first of all, do you want to be alive in 5 years? Okay. Yes, I want to be alive. Okay. So what do you got to do to stay alive? And if and went into the conversation of, we all juggle a bunch of balls, but one of those balls is glass, and it's the health ball. You drop the health ball and the rest of them don't matter. If you drop the work ball, it bounces, you can pick it back up and keep going with it. But, what a powerful, that goes right into your ideal job description. Like, what is your role within your company? What is your role within your life? And that is just once you get clarity around that, it seems like it's almost like you're in space with all the stars and all the planets, and they're all going like that. And then you get your ideal job description as part of like a 5-year plan, and you become kind of the sun, and you realize the planets are rotating around, and that sounds pretty egotistical, but the systems and the universe starts to align itself, and it starts to make a lot of sense because you've come up with that clarity. Is that what happened for you? The planets aligned and the stars
aligning without you think it. I remember that first mega camp in 2009. I heard Gary Keller say, be careful what you think about. Mm-hmm. It usually comes true. This can be right for the good stuff or the bad stuff. So let's put the good stuff in. Let's envision our best life now. And now we get to just get on the path of making it happen. And so that's where I am today. I'm living and doing what I love most days. Do I get stressed out? Sure. Heck yeah. Business is wonky sometimes, but we gotta still keep getting up and going because I have bigger things to do. And I'm not quite there yet.
Well, I hate to say this again, just because we always deliver on our promises, but we're going to have you on again. Like, I've so enjoyed this conversation. I know people that have listened to them. That I feel like this is like the Oprah's Soul
Sunday.
Yeah, Soulful Sunday. I feel like next time we get a couple of chairs out in, an alcove and the birds are chirping and the dogs are barking.
I love it.
And the things are going on around us, right? And I really appreciate you as a person. I really appreciate your sharing with us today, and just love where your spirit's going, your soul's going, and just always appreciate you as a guest here on Referrals Podcast.
I am always honored to be here, and I love learning from you. So thanks for everything you do.
Awesome. Hang on so I can give you that connection. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it. You learned a ton here. Hopefully one of the things that you learned is you need to attend events, right? You need to go to RMS 2024. I know I've said it 3 times during this thing, but we'd love to have you at Atlanta. It's September 27th through the 29th. That's right. The last few days before the fourth quarter. Do you want to finish the year strong? Hey, I'll help you finish the year strong and give you 2 52-week data-based plans for 2025 as well, so that you're 100% ready for the new year as well as the new quarter. Also, join gengen.com if you haven't yet. Join the Generosity Generation. If you enjoyed what you heard here today, please click the subscribe button. We'd love to have you as a regular subscriber. We're coming up on 500,000 downloads on this Referrals podcast. You guys, I'd say 490,000 of those are me, like every day, just downloading. I'm just kidding. You only get credit for one. But I just want you to know, I thank you, the listeners and viewers of Referrals Podcast, for tuning in each and every week with us. Just know how much I appreciate that. I love you. Have a great one, and we'll see you next time on Referrals Podcast.